This is very bright. What's up? Long time no see. Welcome to the video. What was that? Before we get started, just want to thank Squarespace. This is our last of 4 videos sponsored by them. If you guys need a website, online store, or domain, make sure you make a next move with Squarespace. Today we're going to be doing a sketchbook tour. Well, I don't really have anything else to say, so let's get started.
Hello, welcome to the voiceover / my first sketchbook tour. I believe this is the first time I have ever completely filled in a sketchbook, so woot woot. For the record, the majority of these pieces are from 2017 and 2016. In terms of a timeline though, I didn't fill this book in completely sequentially, so some pieces are out of place. If you've followed me for a while or seen a lot of my videos, you'll probably recognize a good number of these. Today while we flip through my book though, I figured I'd talk about how to fill a sketchbook, and thoughts that went into some of the work you'll see. But here is the biggest point I want to make in this video, the real ticket, the reason I was finally able to fill a sketchbook, and the reason is this. A sketchbook is for you. It should be a place where you give yourself complete creative freedom. Freedom to try new things, freedom to make mistakes, and freedom to make crappy art. Tell me if you can relate to this. Year after year of my life, I would receive sketchbooks and stare at the blank pages, completely intimidated by the prospect of what to fill them with. First of all, I rarely had ideas of what to make, but then if I did want to mess around, doodle, try something different, if it wasn't perfect, I felt ashamed of it. I didn't want people to see it. I didn't want it to become a representation of my skill level and work. I was incredibly self-conscious of my sketchbook, and if I hated something or if a page didn't reflect my abilities in a favorable light, I'd often just rip it out or hide it. There's another reason I would do this too though. Growing up, I like to think of myself as a decent artist, but if I really let loose and tried out all the random ideas I had in my head, there was a good chance I would have to make things I didn't already know how to draw. And if I didn't know how to make it already, chances were it would come out badly. And to see a whole sketchbook filled with my trials and errors would force me to confront how much I still had to learn, all the places where I lacked skill. Ultimately, if you want to maintain this self-identity as a good or decent artist, it's much easier to keep doing what you're already good at than to venture into some unexplored terrain. Going back to this habit of ripping out pages that show mistakes and avoiding art that seems too complicated for my skill level though, I'll be real, I still do this. I'm not a perfect person when it comes to letting go of my sketchbook inhibitions, but I have improved a lot. And my progress comes back to the same reason I've been repeating week after week lately. It comes down to how we measure success. You cannot derive your success and satisfaction off of things you cannot control, like always making good art, or always receiving 100% positive feedback on your pieces. If you only feel successful when you're making good art, you will inevitably find failure because good art requires mistakes. You cannot make anything good without first practicing and building up skills. And if you only feel successful when you receive 100% positive feedback about your creations, you will inevitably find failure there too, because art is subjective and personal, and there's a million different ways to value it. If you relate to any of these sentiments and are intimidated by your sketchbook or have a hard time freely working in it, maybe you suffer from my same problem, perfectionism. But there are other problems too. Artist block, lack of motivation, lack of ideas, lack of time. Many of these ideas can be aided by pretty simple solutions. To boil it down completely, this is my advice. Number 1, if you only have 20 minutes to make art, use them. Don't wait for the perfect moment to make art. 2, if you are struggling to find motivation, instead of waiting for it to come to you, act first. Let action create your motivation. Chances are that in the simple act of creating, more ideas will come to you and you can build off of them. Just focus on doing a small amount of art each day and you'll likely be surprised by how many ideas flow from that simple act. Number 3, work to discover some personal direction or style. If you need additional advice on this, watch my last video on how to find your art style. But in the meantime, seek after aesthetics or emotional concepts that are important to you, that drive your art forward. Having existing ideas in your head when you go into the studio improves your workflow incredibly. Number 4, make goals to keep yourself motivated. Whether that comes from finding an artist you love, who you look up to and want to learn from studying, or in discovering subject matter you want to master. Have goals to keep you moving. It's vital in the early stages of your journey where it becomes really easy to get discouraged, and often you see more failures and struggles than success. And lastly, number 5, when you go to make art or practice, instead of finding success in perfection, find success in things you can control: your effort, time, progress, and commitment. I used to feel like a failure every time I would spend a day in my studio making mistakes. Even though I'd put in 8 hours, the fact that I had made nothing I wanted to share would make me feel like I'd been completely unproductive. This is a toxic viewpoint to have. If you switch your perspective around and place value on your time, commitment, and effort, you can begin to praise your process rather than just the prize, the progress rather than just the result. This will help keep you motivated and create an environment where you can value your experimentations, failures, and mistakes. In this environment is where your sketchbook can really thrive and come alive. Take advantage of your sketchbook as specifically a place to try new things with little commitment. You should be experimenting, learning, and making mistakes here. Then, instead of feeling like a failed artist when you look back at your trial and error, see the value in the work you've put in, the clear effort and commitment you've dedicated. That is something to be really proud of. Take confidence and find success in those values. I'll leave links to all the videos that I've mentioned in this video in the description, so make sure you check out some of those. I've had some pretty major breakthroughs, at least for myself, in terms of the way I think about art and mistakes and success, and I feel like it's really improving my mental state, allowing me to really experiment more and just find what makes me happiest in art. So I will link those. I really hope you guys do go check them out. Before I let you go, I need to say one final thank you to Squarespace. If you are looking to build a website to sell your art or create an online business, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform flexible for any kind of website or creator that offers unique domains, beautiful designer templates, and has award-winning 24/7 customer service. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com and enter the offer code CLONTS to get 10% off your first purchase with the link in the description. Happy art making, my loves! Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next Friday. Bye!
Rowan, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. We need to make a skit. It's been a long time. Maybe we'll do reenactments of famous performance art pieces. Tell me what you guys think about that in the comments. All right, I'll see you guys next Friday. Goodbye.